So it seemed appropriate on this first Monday after the end of daylight savings time to talk about light. And I'm reading a book that is wonderful called The Spiritual Physics of Light by Dr. Aaron D. Franklin. And it talks about how our spirits respond to light, how we recognize light, and it also gives a great overview of the actual physics of light, which I've always found fascinating. In fact, in my 9th grade science class, I was sitting there learning about the duality of light, how it's a particle, but it's also a wave, and thinking, does that explain how angels get around, how they get into your room, and they also travel? I don't know, maybe. I liked this quote from the book. It says, "Everyone radiates spiritual light of some form, intensity, and type. While the light of Christ is in the world, which results in light radiating from our souls, information from that radiated light will be detectable by others. Considering the unstoppable constancy of our radiation, we can see added meaning in the Savior's injunction to let our light so shine before men." Matthew 5:16. "Examine the counsel of the Savior in its entirety. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Matthew 5:14-16. A key attribute of light is that it travels in a specific direction. Think about a flashlight. I think it is safe to assume that the spiritual light radiating from within us is also directional in its own way. As such, we must focus our spiritual light so that it will shine into others, thus maximizing the effect of our light in the same way we would focus a flashlight onto the path ahead of a fellow traveler when walking with them in a dark forest. So I thought it was such a good idea for this day when everyone's posting memes about the darkness that's going to come too early, to focus on how we can bring a little bit more light into people's lives. And the 2 ways that I'm going to do that is first, was inspired by the next chapter of this book. He talks about how he has this rambunctious, rowdy, rough and tumble, there's squirrels in the trees, son who is always getting in trouble, and he and his wife were worried that they were always having these negative interactions with the son, and he prayed that he would catch his son doing something good or have a more positive interaction with him. So he was on the stairs one day and he saw his son contemplating putting the Spider-Man cup on his sister's spot for dinner and the pink cup on his brother's spot for dinner to get even with them for something, because he was in charge of putting the cups and he knew that would make him mad. And instead of doing that, his son switched it at the last minute just to be nice. And later that night, when they were having family devotional, he had told a story about this, his sister, the son's sister, his daughter, and how much this sister had inspired him. And the little rambunctious son was like, "Dad, do you have a story about me that is inspiring?" And the dad said, "Well, actually," and he told the cup story and said how much it meant to him that he had decided to put aside his anger at the siblings for what they had done and to do something nice, and that he was so proud of him. And the son just beamed. He was full of light, full of joy. And so my resolution for today is to catch my kids and anyone I'm around doing something good. I'm going to try to catch everyone around me, if I can, just doing something good or something good about them. Like maybe I see someone smile, or I can compliment them on their smile, or I see someone picking up trash, or I see someone just being kind or considerate or something. I'm going to try to catch my husband doing something good, and all my kids doing something good, especially my middle son. I feel like lately I have not been as positive as I should with my middle son, and I really want my kids to see the light that they have and to recognize that they're full of light. They're full of the light of Christ. And my second resolution for today to bring more light into this world has to do with John 8:12. And it says, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So because Christ is the light we should hold up, I'm going to set an alarm on my phone for a time that I know is usually really chaotic in our lives, in our family, around dinner time or around, bedtime, or just those stressful times that, are usually a little bit anxious. Maybe also I'll do it in the morning around the time we leave usually. And I'm just going to put a reminder on my phone to bring the light and love and testimony of Christ into that situation in some way. And I'll pray for the Spirit to be with me to bring it into that situation in a way that would be most meaningful and impactful in the lives of the people that I love, so that they can feel that influence of the light of Christ in their lives and gain more and more light each day. Because I feel as we gather more and more light each day, we're able to gather more light, and it's just an ongoing process, and it's cumulative. And I'm so grateful for the light in my life, and that's going to be my goal, is to gather light each day, gather as much light as I can, and get rid of darkness. I know that his yoke is easy and his burden is light, and if we focus on him, we will just be filled with light, because he is the light of the world, and in him there is no darkness. Have a wonderful, light-filled first Monday of the end of daylight savings time, or